Hi, welcome to Talk Tuesday. I'm Susan Buchser-Lochocki, running for President of the United States of the Green Party, and as a write-in. And it is Talk Tuesday. Welcome. So I was originally going to talk about some of the suffragettes and some of the women out there, but somebody asked me for some more of my thoughts on mothering, and they're still unclear about what I'm talking about. So I think I'll switch to mother's pay and talk about that, and sort of the social ills that are going on right now, and how we can go about making things better. I've got a new light and I'm still trying to figure out how to work it so that it looks okay. I guess that looks good. Okay. So anyways, right now we are, I guess the US is planning on opening schools safely. We did see some pictures recently of a school that was open where the kids were not wearing masks and they were jammed together in a hallway. So I don't think that that's actually opening up safely. But perhaps it's in a town or in a state where they have less stringent rules or something like that. I'm not sure. Anyway, yes, opening the schools. So one thing that was discovered because of the virus last school year was that there was a lot of lack of equality in the school system around the country. Some kids at schools had computers, some did not. Some had lunch and some did not. Some schools, some families were depending on the kids getting lunch at school because they didn't have lunch money for lunch at home. So a lot of things have come to the surface, which is what's happening a lot with this coronavirus, is that, you know, we're discovering a lot of things that were hidden and the government didn't know about, and the states didn't know about, and people are finding now out about it. So apparently, I want to say I was watching something earlier today, and apparently there's $13 billion worth of money available for schools from the CARES Act. And I think the schools need to tap into this and get the supplies that are needed. Part of the problem is it the school's problem that the kids don't have a computer at home, or that they don't have internet access and have to go to McDonald's. I think these are, and well, because of coronavirus, you can't sit at a McDonald's, so you don't have internet access. So this is a problem. I have actually addressed this fact that it should be a right, a human right, that every U.S. citizen deserves to have electricity at home. They deserve to have a computer and a mobile phone, and they need access to the internet. Now, I am at a home where the access to the internet is very slow. So this is not what I'm talking about. Slow internet access is actually not it either. And I know that, you know, the government has moved forward with 5G, but I don't think we've done enough research on 5G itself either. So I think we need to do some research on 5G. I think everyone should have 4G. I think that should be possible. So, you know, starting up the school system without everybody being equal, that's not good. I suppose we need to start by making sure every student has a computer and a mobile phone and access to the internet, electricity at home. So those are the first things that need to be taken care of. The schools need to go to their state school district department and say, look, we don't have these things. We have 10 students that don't have a computer, a mobile phone, electricity, or internet access. And the government needs to get on that and make sure that those students have those things. Also, I want to make a distinction. There is a difference between my policy and the Republican policy, and perhaps the Democrat policy. I don't think that charter schools are public schools. And in my opinion, this $13 billion, it goes to public schools only. It goes to public elementary schools and kindergartens and junior highs and high schools. It also goes to public apprenticeship programs all around the country. And it goes to universities, state universities that are private, that are public universities, not private universities. Anything that's private or semi-private, get no money. You go to your families and you say, I have to up your tuition, and then you do that. Sorry, there's none of this money goes to private schools. You go straight to your people and ask them for the money. So, public funds for public schools. And it should be equally distributed, or maybe unequally distributed. It should go to the schools that need it the most. You know, if all your children at your school have a computer that's working and access to the internet, then they have no excuse, and you probably don't need any money. So let the other schools that are lagging behind get the money. What I will say, if you are a charter school and you think you want to be a public school, then you can talk to your local town, and then they can talk to whatever officials they need to talk to, and we can look into the process of making you a public school, but then everybody has access to going to your school, not just the ones that are already signed up. Yeah. So actually this was supposed to be about mothering, but I started talking about schools because it is the back to school time, and schooling affects mothering, you know. I know that firsthand because, yeah, I had a sick daughter who was, we were suddenly always at the hospital or always at home, wearing masks and washing hands and trying to have a social life, which was very difficult when you have a child under cancer treatment. So my daughter had leukemia twice, and we did a lot of homeschooling. Luckily, my husband's aunt was a teacher, and she had just retired, so she could help out. She would come by, you know, once or twice a week and help with lessons, and my daughter could keep up with the class because the teacher would send lessons home that she could do that. She didn't use a computer for the most part until she was sick the second time, and then the computer came in handy. But she didn't sit in with the classroom. She got her homework and was privately taught, and you know, the actual lessons were maybe about 2 hours. So per week, I'm gonna say it was probably about 5 intensive hours. On, you know, math and language, so German, and then eventually English and history and stuff. But with the homeschooling, she was able to keep up, and, you know, she would send her tests in, and they would be graded, and everything was really working out well. We did keep communication with the classroom by sending letters back and forth, a little, you know, social time for her, which was wonderful, and that helped her to keep in touch. But she never spent any time going to the classroom. And, I have to admit, she turned out, she's still alive. She's considered healed from the leukemia. It's been more than 10 years. And she just graduated from high school in Switzerland, which is actually an apprenticeship program. She did an apprenticeship program for 3 years as a nurse. And she had enjoyed, I guess, her time at the hospital so much that she wanted to give back. So, anyways, so now she's also she can be a nurse in Switzerland. And in a little while, she can start some other nursing training to go elsewhere. So, in Switzerland, the kids... so when my daughter started, before she was really... Well, I suppose she was actually sick, and then she started in kindergarten. The Swiss kids don't really have a cafeteria at school. And especially the kindergartens and elementary schools are all within walking distance of homes. So the kids can ride their bike or go on their rollerblades, I suppose, or just walk there with friends. And that's what the kids do. And they go for like 2 hours, and then they come home for lunch, and then they go back for 2 hours, and then they come home. Something like that. It's, it's not exactly broken up like that, but maybe it's 3 hours, then lunch, then 1 to 2 hours in the afternoon, and then home. It depends if it's kindergarten or if it's first grade or whatever. And then older groups. So, the kids get fresh air when they're walking outside, coming home. They have their friend time, and then they come home to a warm house where, they get a nice home-cooked meal with fresh food. And they get to see their mom, and their mom gets to see them, or whoever the stay-at-home parent is. It can also be a dad. And it's just, for me, it was wonderful. I know a lot of, not a lot, I would say about 50% of the mothers were not happy. A lot of the international mothers were really not happy that their kids were coming home for lunch at the beginning. I think, like me and like other ones, you get used to it, and then you actually enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It was a nice change, and I think it stops the bullying. A lot of bullying happens around lunchtime, and when the kids are all stuck together and they're all this anxiety is happening and stress between the kids, and they're feeling powerful because they got their buddies with them. Then they pick on that weak one, and they point fingers, and then harassment starts. So it's a way to break up that harassment and bullying too, and gets the kids out. So coming home for lunch, I actually highly recommend it. And some of my ideas are very strange for you U.S. Parents, and I would like to have that as an option. But, I also want to include you in the decision process. So I would like to send off, if I'm president, some early referendum